皆様、本日
Thank you very much for taking your time to join us for the joint press conference today. Here is how we proceed today. Today's program consists of two parts. First, we are going to have presentations on strategic partnership, followed by Q&A. Also, we are going to have a photo opportunity. Then, finally, we are going to have a roundtable discussion by Masayoshi Son, SoftBank Corp representative, and Akio Toyoda, president of Toyota Motor Corporation. Press release will be available at 1:30 on the website of both companies. And also, this press conference is being broadcasted live on the website as well. Now, let's start the press conference. The first, Shigeki Tomoyama, Executive Vice President of Toyota Motor Corporation, will give you a presentation.
トヨタ自動車の友山でございます。本日はご多忙の折お集まりいただきありがとうございます。トヨタとソフトバンクはモビリティサービス事業分野におきまして新会社モネテクノロジー
Toyota and SoftBank have agreed to set up a new company called Monet Technologies and form a mobility service partnership. Today, we would like to share the details of this development with you. First, I'd like to describe some of Toyota's initiatives in this field and the background to our partnership. In late 2016, Toyota announced its connected strategy, which consists of 3 arrows. The first arrow is to build and launch the Mobility Services Platform, or MSPF, which will connect all our vehicles and serve as a foundation of our information infrastructure. The second arrow in our strategy is to promote the use of big data to accelerate business innovation within Toyota and at the same time bring new benefits to the customer and to society. The third arrow consists of using MSPF as a foundation to enable us to enter into tie-ups with various companies and create new mobility services. Almost 2 years have passed since that announcement. As you can see, we are making steady progress in rolling out mobility services. Positioning at the same time as we accelerate our connected strategy, we have also started to establish a new, stronger collaborative organization at home within the Toyota Group. We set up Denso 10 to promote the development of multimedia products, as well as a new company to accelerate the development and installation of automated driving systems under the umbrella of these 4 Toyota Group companies. These actions will also enable us to share big data throughout the group. Our connected strategy aims to connected technologies and continuous improvement, and our connected strategy aims to humanize connected services to create close links with our dealers and customers and ensure complete peace of mind. To achieve this goal, our first step has been to establish a Kaizen facility for connected technologies. Through this facility, we are providing training to our dealer sales and service staff and supporting workplace-based Kaizen activities. This slide shows our third arrow initiatives, that is, those related to MaaS. We have started working with various external companies as a mobility service platform provider. In the United States, we are working with GetAround in San Francisco to provide a car-sharing service that uses a smart key box SKB to lock and unlock the vehicle doors and start the engine via a smartphone app. We have plans to expand this service to the whole of North America. We have also started a similar service called Hawaii in cooperation with Servco, our distributor in Hawaii. We plan to make this service more widely available as a model car-sharing business through our dealers. We also have a tie-up with Grab, the largest ride-sharing provider in Southeast Asia. We have equipped the Grab fleet in Singapore with cooperative drive recorders, and Toyota-affiliated companies have started working with Grab to provide services such as telematics-based car insurance, tracking, maintenance, and the like. We plan to expand this service throughout Southeast Asia.
In addition to our ongoing initiatives using our current vehicle lineup, we are also taking on the challenges of developing new forms of shared social mobility. And this is our opening move towards the mobility society of the future. Using this as a starting point at CES in the United States at the beginning of this year, President Toyota declared his determination to transform Toyota from being a car company to a mobility company, and also he unveiled the e-pallet concept. Then last month, we announced that we'd cooperate with Uber, one of the members of the e-pallet alliance, to develop dedicated automated Mars vehicles. Through this startup, Uber's autonomous driving system will be installed a dedicated Mars vehicle equipped with the Toyota Guardian automated safety support system. And through the mutual interaction of these two systems, we will develop dedicated automated Mars vehicles with an aim for an overwhelmingly high level of safety. The vehicles are anticipated to enter Uber's rideshare service network and conduct field tests from 2021. As another aspect of our connected strategy, we're also working with taxi providers in Japan. We are developing an AI-based taxi dispatch system that predicts customer demand and testing an on-demand commuter shuttle service. And these initiatives are all important milestones toward the successful implementation of the e-pallet concept. And during the course of these initiatives, we have realized that in order to promote popularization of the dedicated next-generation Mars vehicles, there's a need for a third-party entity to stand between Toyota as a manufacturer and the various service providers to provide service planning, sales, vehicle leasing, and providing third-party operations. And SoftBank is an important shareholder in Uber, Grab, and other global rideshare companies. They came to the same realization as we did at Toyota. So around half a year ago, we started up a working group made up of younger employees of both companies, and we decided to establish Monet Technology based on the results from the working group. This partnership combines and realizes SoftBank's corporate philosophy of information revolution, happiness for everyone, with Toyota's vision of mobility for all. In addition to achieving advanced on-demand mobility services, we think that it will help to resolve social issues such as urban congestion and transportation needs in sparsely populated areas. As a mobility company, Toyota will continue to help realize a safer and more comfortable mobility society in which everyone can move freely. Now, I would like to hand over to Mr. Miyakawa of SoftBank, who will explain the details of the new company's business.
Thank you, Mr. Tomoyama. Now, Junichi Miyakawa, Representative Director and CTO of SoftBank Corporation, will give you presentation. Mr. Miyakawa, please. My name is Miyakawa from SoftBank. Mobile phones connect people with people. And with smartphones, phones will have application which allows connection between people and services. Going forward, we can have IoT, whereby data will be collected and analyzed with AI technology. SoftBank have devices which create data. We have network to collect data. We have platform to store data. We have AI to analyze data. And by utilizing data, we develop new services. So we have end-to-end capabilities, which is probably different from what you have in your mind when it comes to SoftBank as a telecom company. Talking about IoT, with 5G technologies coming in, IoT will be much more enriched. And today, I'm going to talk about cars, which will be one of the things get connected. Mr. Tomoyama mentioned earlier e-pallet. From SoftBank's perspective, we believe that cars are ultimate IoT. And we have reached an agreement with Toyota to come to this alliance. The concept of e-pallet. On top of autonomous cars, service will be built. That's the concept of e-pallet. And by working together with Toyota, autonomous will be provided by this new company. And autonomous is a new word created by combining autonomous vehicle and mobility as a service. So we agreed to work together to work on autonomous with this new company. This is a new company overview. The company name is Monet Technology. Share structure, SoftBank 50.25%, Toyota Motor Corporation 49.75%. Capital, we start with 2 billion Japanese yen, and we plan to increase to 10 billion Japanese yen. President and CEO will be myself, Junichi Miyakawa. And here's the logo of the new company. 20 years ago, Mr. Toyoda and Mr. Tomoyama and myself talked about the telematics. And they asked us to use the name which was used for telematic service that Toyota and Tomoyama created 20 years ago. And in respect for the company, we named the new company Monet. And we are going to be the platformer. Service providers and autonomous vehicles will be connected to create a new mobility world, if you will. There are some use cases. This is a mobile convenience store. When you go to scarcely populated areas, there are a lot of people who have poor access to shopping facilities. So we're going to provide this capability so that they can have a merchandise coming to your door, and workspace, food delivery, shuttle bus or shuttle cars to hospitals. Those are some of the use cases that we are thinking to provide underserved people. This is a service rollout plan. We think that we are going to have 2 phases. Autonomous cars, and there are some regulations in Japan around autonomous cars, and we have to wait until certain regulations will be lifted or deregulated. So before waiting for that deregulation happen, we're going to start preparation for the future by introducing on-demand mobility services. Now, talking about on-demand mobility services, we are thinking about utilizing applications on the smartphone, but some customers prefer fixed line at home. So we are thinking about a two-way approach, mobile phones and application like this and other. And also, we try to new things. For example, applying to a national, to be designated as national strategic special zones. There are some challenges that we face in Japan. For example, of the Japanese population, 1 in 4 are aged for 65 and older. But in 20 years, it will be 1 in 3. So we are pretty highly aged society. And there are a lot of people who have limited access to transportation and shopping facilities. They suffer inconvenience. And we heard that there are 8.2 million people are suffering that. And also some aged people, or more and more aged people are returning driver's licenses voluntarily. And the local governments operate some buses to try to help those people. But in reality, 83% of bus operators are unprofitable. And again, in highly localized area, in the last 10 years, 5,000 schools were closed. But from elementary school to high school, there are 33,000 schools. But out of them, 5,000 have been closed last 10 years. And also over 600 districts have no hospital. So MONE want to save people with limited access to transportation and shops. And also we want to resolve some transportation challenges and issues. And ultimately, with e-pallet, we want to help revitalizing our local communities. Those are the steps we want to take. First, we want to work with local public agencies. In SoftBank, prefectures and cities, and there are about 15 prefectures or cities that we have alliance with. And with cooperation with those local municipalities, we want to drive for this effort. And we want to develop or deploy, in 100 municipalities working on revitalization. And we are willing to work with local municipalities who face challenges, and also we want to prioritize in areas with serious transportation issues. With e-pallet, we want to promote next generation mobility. That's why we created this venture. MONE Technologies. SoftBank and Toyota may not seem like a perfect match, but all Japan team like us want to go global. We will try our best, and your support will be very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miyakawa.
Now we'll proceed to a session for question and answers. Please wait momentarily as we prepare the stage for the session. Thank you for your patience. We'll start the question and answers. If you have questions, please raise your hand from your seat. Our staff members will be bringing you a microphone. And when you ask your questions, please identify yourself, stating your name and affiliation, and also please make sure to identify to whom you are addressing your question. And I'd like to receive as many questions as possible, so may I ask you to limit yourselves to one question each. Thank you. I see a hand of the gentleman in the white shirt in the second block. Kudo with Nikkei. Thank you. If possible, this is for the two of you. In terms of Mars, before the end of this year, Google will start commercial business of the full automated service. And so technology companies of China and US are advancing very ahead. So what do you think are your own advantages? And also, do you see any challenges which might have one of the reasons why you have decided to team up in the two of you?
Allow me to answer that question first. The Mars-based vehicles for the penetration and spread of Mars business, Uber, Grab, those major global rideshare companies need to be partnered with. And so we think it is essential to partner with those. And in that context, the major shareholder of those companies, SoftBank and ourselves, do share the vision going forward. And by doing so, we have decided to establish this new company, as we have just announced today, the IoT platform SoftBank has, and also the assets in the IT industry that SoftBank has in the form of various partners is on the one hand, and Toyota has many platforms, and also we have the capability and strength of manufacturing consolidated or concentrated in our group. By combining together, we'll be able to establish the unprecedented strong mobility service that can be found nowhere else. In terms of the challenges, in different countries or regions, regulations or laws vary and conditions vary as well. And therefore, we need to come up with a form of a service that is most suitable for different regions as we try to spread this new service. Mr. Miyagawa, please.
Exactly, I feel threat. Automobile industry in Japan should be something that we are proud of. But when it comes to autonomous cars and electricity cars, if you look at America, Europe, and China, looking at the momentum they are building in terms of high tech, SoftBank alone and automobile maker alone can't do everything together. So maybe we should better working together to embark on the journey. But we are not ready for giving up. And we believe that we can catch up with those more advanced guys abroad. When it comes to challenges, like Mr. Tomoyama mentioned, in Japan, it's not easy to start driving autonomous cars on public roads and streets. Even though autonomous vehicles are made and ready, society is not ready for driving those cars. So we want to help building a foundation for such society going forward.
よろしいでしょうか。
You okay? Well then, another hand in the first row. Kimura, Asahi Shimbun, thank you. This question is for the two of you. I was listening to your presentations, and the first service will be launched in Japan first. That was my impression. But car dispatching service, both Toyota and SoftBank, you work with Nippon Kotsu and GG Tsushin. You have the application services already working with these companies, but what will be the sort of division of labor between the existing services like these? Initially, you serve 100 districts. Going forward, as the coverage expands, there will be a direct competition. So how are you going to divide your areas of responsibility?
You just referred to dispatch service. We are working with Japan Taxi and SoftBank with Didi. So with those partners, when it comes to the dispatch of vehicles, we are providing those type of applications and providing services. However, the ultimate vision that we have for this alliance is to use the autonomously driven MaaS vehicle, that is, to make the e-pallet commercially available and commercially used. However, we are referring to on-demand shuttle or on-demand bus, we call them as such, but before the ultimate state of an e-pallet becomes a reality, starting with the small vehicles, we'll be able to provide those vehicles to remote areas, or maybe this in the urban areas for commuting purposes, where the commuting has become difficult. So that might represent one starting point for our services to be initiated. So when it comes to business operation, we ourselves may not be the operator of those businesses, but rather by working together with locally based taxi companies or transportation companies, we'll be initiating those. And to those, we'll be providing the vehicles and also the software required for that. So it's not that we are going to encroach upon the business areas where existing operators are already doing business.
Yes. Yeah, I think I share the same view with Mr. Tomoyama. For the first phase, rather than business-based or business-driven, there are a lot of challenges that we have to address to be ready for the future. And we need to also develop needs. So I don't think that we will compete head-to-head to service providers.
では続き
I hope that answers your questions. Now, yes, in the front row on the other side of the room. Nakajima, Kyoto Press. This, in the sense, is a strategic alliance. And can you tell us a history of how come to agree on this? Who initiated this, and what is the process leading up to today's press conference? You talked about your initiative, an All Japan initiative. Toyota already worked with Matsuda and others on basic technologies for e-vehicles. You're going to be going to those areas as well.
Thank you for the question. As I alluded to a little bit earlier, considering the provision of a MaaS business in the future and to ensure development further, working with the existing car-sharing provider is very important. That's our recognition. In our own, we have been aligned with Grab or Uber. And as I said, SoftBank is the leading shareholder of both of these companies, and we believe that we need to share the same vision for the future. And so we, on the Toyota side, made approaches first to SoftBank about half a year ago. We started a discussion in the working group consisting on younger people of both companies. And we came to realize that when it comes to a vision for the future or the actual business to be pursued, we realized that we share very much of them. So that led to this decision to establish this company. With respect to the reference to All Japan, both Toyota and SoftBank will start up this business here in Japan, and we intend to increase the number of like-minded operators, or if possible, eventually would like to deploy the business on the global scene as well.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. I see your hand in the first row of the second from myself block. Tomioka, Toyo Keizai. Thank you. The stake you are taking, SoftBank is a majority and Toyota is a minority investor. Why is that? I mean, and why is this proportion? How was it decided? And also, what has been your view of Toyota and SoftBank as a partner to begin with?
With respect to the ownership share, it's for convenience purpose because SoftBank is going to provide CEO, Mr. Miyagawa, and so that's why we have this sort of ownership share. But regardless of this ownership share, we share exactly the same vision and purpose of this company. That remains unchanged, and that remains very solid.
You've had a relationship, but you have been in a rival relationship. But how did you decide to come together?
Well, the interface between SoftBank and Toyota didn't exist in any significant way in the past. But as I have mentioned earlier, the collaborating with or partner with car sharing or ride share companies that Toyota has been promoting, we always found SoftBank behind those companies as the largest shareholder of those companies. Toyota in Japan, SoftBank in Japan. There is a clear need for these companies, the Japanese companies, to join hands and sharing vision to establish and build this solid business going forward. So that's why we made initial approaches to SoftBank, and we started this working group consisting of younger members of both companies. And between the manufacturers and service providers, including some local governments, we came to realize that there is some function between these two to combine them. And that need is recognized by both parties. And therefore, we have decided to establish this company.
So it's not necessarily as a result of the sort of a personal relationship between the top leaders?
No, basically, a working group consisting of younger people came up with this idea of establishing a new company. And we're going to have talk show to follow this, so please ask questions to the top executives of both companies.
Thank you. Any further questions? The gentleman with the black jacket on in the second row. Yamakawa is my name, WBS. And this one is for the both of you. In time, all Japan initiative is going to be, the world is your market, you said, but you're working together. But how specifically are you going to go overseas for global operations? What are your specific images, how you can be more international?
This new company, Monet Technology, people may focus on autonomously driven vehicles, but what kind of services should be or will be provided by such autonomous cars? That might be more important. Sometimes we might deliver services on our own, and other times we will provide a platform to service providers or servicers. And with that approach, we want to go global.
Basically, we share the same idea. That is to say, depending upon the region or area, there might be a major ride-share or car-sharing companies. And with those companies, we will be able to provide them with solutions or platform with Monet. And there may be areas where such service providers may not exist. In those remote areas, working with local governments might become our partner, or we ourselves providing such service is also envisioned. So it depends on the needs and demands existing in different regions. Depending on that, our own business model will vary and will be revised.
Thank you. And in the interest of time, I'm afraid I'm going to accept only 3 more questions. So, first hand in the third row. Shimizu is my name, Nikkei Automotive. Speaker from the SoftBank. This one is for you. SoftBank. compete in the United States because you work with GM Cruise. That's competition against the palette of Toyota. So as far as you're concerned, SoftBank, you have Toyota and Toyota GM, who will be, shall I say, the more important partner in providing mass service. In terms of the investment, GM should be very large.
As CEO of Monet Technology, I'd love to say yes, definitely Toyota is more important. But please ask Mr. Son to answer to your question.
Then the left-hand side from my perspective, second row.
On developing that autonomous technology to get it ready for the early 2020s?
決してこのモネという会社はそのオートノーマスビーグルを開発
This Monet Technologies is not the company to develop autonomous vehicle. It's not that. We simply provide that as one of the solutions. From the perspective of Toyota Motor Corporation, in 2020, we are going to have Olympic Games in Tokyo, and the 2 Olympic Games, we would like to provide a palette. So that point will represent one important starting point for autonomous vehicle. And in 2023, we will enhance that even further to commercialize e-palette. And of course, by then, we will be developing our own autonomous vehicle technology. And at the same time, as we have announced already, working with Uber, the Toyota's autonomous system, that is Guardian, and Uber's autonomous driving technology will be used together, each monitoring each other to provide even safer mobility service. So that's a roadmap we have.
くださいませ。よろしいでしょうか。では他に。
Sorry for that, and thank you. And do we have any more questions? We have a lady with a hand in the third block on my side. Hayashi is my name. Sign to sign. Both from Toyota and SoftBank. The people with engineering and technological expertise will move to this new company, or perhaps you'll be introducing talents from outside. So these new employees of the new company, what sort of expertise would you be expecting these people to bring to the new company, Mr. Miyagawa?
Yes, thank you. As a first start, about 30 people will be in the company, both coming from Toyota and from SoftBank. And we have a lot of people in our companies that have expertise and Mars. And we are looking for people who have knowledge about systems and AI, who is capable of analyzing data collected.
よろしいでしょうか。
I hope that answered your question. Thank you. Maybe one more question will be entertained. Yes, the gentleman with the hand up in the middle. Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. Sasaki is my name, Japan Logistics Newspaper. We are a logistics newspaper, and from that perspective, earlier you talked about you're working with local bus taxi companies, people movers. But autonomous driving will be introduced in trucking services as well. So, any ideas about going to logistics business, distribution business?
Yes. People, goods, and services, those are the things that we want to utilize to provide our capability. And we, of course, will support people who have difficulty in grocery shoppings on daily basis. And also, parcel delivery will be something that we will think about going forward.
Thank you. I know that you have a lot more questions that you would like to ask, but unfortunately, it's time for us to conclude this session for Q&A. Thank you very much for your questions, and I'd like to invite our speakers to leave the stage. Now, next, we'll have a session with the Masayoshi Son of SoftBank and Akio Toyota of Toyota, President and CEO of the respective companies, for a talk session. But again, please wait for a few moments before we set up the stage for the next part.
さあ皆様、それではお待たせいたしました。
Thank you very much for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. Now that we would like to start a special session.
まずはソフトバンク
So first of all, that we would like to invite Mr. Son, SoftBank Group representative, and also the Mr. Toyota, the President Toyota Motor Corporation. Mr. Son, Mr. Toyota, please come to the stage. So first, that we would like to start with a photo session. So still cameras, please start the shooting. So gentlemen, please look at the front. So now, please look at the right direction from yourself, gentlemen. Thank you. Now to the left direction. Now, once again, look at the front, please.
さて、それで
Well, thank you very much. For those who are standing right now, please sit down, and we would like to move on to the movie cameras now.
Movie の皆様よろしいでしょうか。
We already movie cameras, please.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. Now, we also like to invite Mr. Miyakawa, Mr. Tomoyama, so that we have 4 gentlemen on the stage.
お願いいたします。では再び
So once again, we start with still cameras, please.
どうぞ正面あたりをご覧。
Gentlemen, please look at the front.
では続きまして4名の皆さん
And now to the right direction.
「では続きまして左
Now to the left direction, please. Thank you.
「では今一度
Thank you very much. Once again to the front.
「スチールの皆様よろしいでしょうか。
Thank you very much. That's all for these 2 cameras. Now we would like to move on to movie cameras. For those who are standing, please take your seat. Thank you.
「ムービーの皆様よろしいでしょうか。
Are we ready, movie cameras? Are we done now? Then thank you very much. That is all for this photo session now.
なおこの後
After this, once we are ready, we would like to go on to the next session. Please wait for a moment. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. Now we would like to start special session. Now we would like to invite Mr. Masayoshi Son, the SoftBank Group representative. Mr. Son, please come to the stage. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you hear from Mr. Tomoyama and also from Mr. Miyakawa regarding the business business description, and also what was the opportunity that both of us start discussing about this business, also explained by them. In the beginning, it was the discussion between the young generations. And the first I heard about this, I thought that, is this real? I was a bit surprised to hear that. That is my honest answer for that. And also, back then, now it's time. That's another thought that I had back then. What I mean is that the trend is coming in natural way to this direction, I believe. It is very exciting. I'm very happy to have this conference because having a partner with Toyota, the world famous company, and now that we can start this joint venture, just thinking about this just make me excited. And how can we bring our vision together, and also what we are going to aim for? That's from the big picture wise that I would like to explain from myself today. So mobility. There has been used these words regarding Mars platform and so on. Originally speaking, human has evolved through mobility. By making people moving, there are new encounter, new productivity, and also new society will be up and running. On top of that, recently, AI, as the biggest revolution in human history that is occurring, and we, SoftBank, has been focusing on this recently. AI, we believe, will be redefining all industries. Under such circumstance, the #1 mobility company, Toyota, and also SoftBank, who focus on AI a lot, those two companies of us, by partnering together, we believe that we'll be able to drive a new mobility in the world, which is totally different and totally new, evolved mobility will be able to bring together. As a SoftBank, we have a cluster of #1 AI strategy. That's the new keywords for our group strategy. Especially, mobility is very much focused. So that the cluster of #1 mobility AI strategy, we have established the SoftBank Vision Fund with $100 billion, and we've been making a lot of investment, but especially this mobility area or the AI-related business is very much focused by this fund. As you can see from here, for example, if you look at ride-sharing Uber, Didi, Grab, Ola, those companies that we have invested as a major shareholder in developing the business together. We almost meet every month's basis in various occasions and talk about the future strategies and so on. In addition, in logistics area, we have invested rideshare of truck version business, and in China, this company actually taking over 90% of market share. Number one, the company called Full Truck Alliance, that we are also trying to develop a further business with this company. And SoftBank became the major shareholder of this company. For the autonomous driving, as already announced, we have invested GM Cruise, investing in about 20%. And also, cloud-side AI is another focus. And NVIDIA, we became shareholder of this company. And with Jensen, the founder of this company, that we've been sharing lots of vision together and exploring the new world with AI. Light, Naoto, there are so many companies that we've been investing. So with each cluster can collaborate each other and create the new synergy and development. That's something that we are aiming for, especially when it comes to ride sharing. These 4 companies, we believe they are taking about 90% of market share around the world in ride sharing business. That's how I believe, or how I understand. Number of rides in the world, about 90% of the number of rides is actually taken by these 4 companies. I believe autonomous driving, once this becomes a commercial, I assume that the several tens of millions of yen can be the cost for this car. This is the kind of supercomputers of the car version, so that even the local cars owns or mounted with a lot of chip with the supercomputers like NVIDIA or ARM. Those are the companies actually mounting such chip in the cars, automobiles, and at the same time communicate with clouds. In that case, actually the price for the automobiles will be more expensive than the general cars per unit. And such an expensive car, what kind of customer can be buying such a car? I believe normal retail customers is not really the first target, but rather commercial use, a professional driver who actually drives about 20 times more distance compared to the normal customers will be the target for this autonomous driving market. From that sense, our family companies are actually, from our assumption, that are taking a 90% of market share, and they are the biggest customer for the autonomous driving, can be a very good meaning for our direction. With those total of those 4 companies, GMB of such 4 companies, as you can see, that are growing dramatically, and now they're coming close to the 10 trillion Japanese yen. In the coming few years, within less than 10 years, I believe, we will be able to exceed the current GMB of Amazon. That's the size that we're expecting for the growth of these businesses. So it is making a dramatic growth now. So these companies actually utilizing AI. So in Japan, there is a word saying dispatching applications, but this is actually misleading from my understanding. Dispatching looks like just one simple application for a smartphone, just calling for taxi. And that's, you may understand from that word, but actually that's underestimating what this service can do. We believe these companies actually providing mobility platform. And at the same time, they are taking a big advantage of AI and providing such a service platform. So using a heat map and predict the future demands so that they can supply appropriately. And at the same time, with the dynamic pricing, that we'll be able to change the price based on the demand. And also always, every 15 minutes, within 100 meters square, how many cars are lacking, or how many people is asking for the cars, how many cars are actually redundant, so that we'll be able to distribute the most car to the most appropriate destination, so that we always predict where customers can be waiting for the car. And at the same time, for the logistics, as I mentioned earlier, in truck version, we are also utilizing AI, building heat map, and also introducing the dispatching of the trucks. Why are we doing this business? Why are we focusing on this autonomous driving? Because 1.25 million people are actually dying due to the traffic accident. And I believe once we come to this autonomous driving world, we will no more see the death in traffic accident. We have already invested in Cruise, and we have been working on the autonomous driving in this company. And this time with the partnership with Toyota. And many technologies for the autonomous driving developed by Toyota will be utilized for this time company service. Image recognitions, AIs, actually we have NVIDIA, and also spatial or perception technology, we have Light. And also we have ARM in our group, and this actually have a dedicated chip in the automobile industry and have announced recently. And we believe this chip and technology is going to be mounted on automobiles one after another to accelerate the autonomous driving. And to do such a service, map is going to be very important. So the map for the autonomous driving, Mapbox, and for the e-commerce, Auto One, or in a lease and rental area, which Toyota has already invested in, Getaround. On top of that, we have a company called Fair invested, and in the car insurance area that we have John Ann's Insurance and Policy Bazaar. So with those companies, we are creating a cluster of #1 strategy, and also Uber, which Toyota has invested in, and also Grab that Toyota has invested in, that with this cluster that we believe collaborating each other, mobility and AI added up, then we believe Toyota has already became #1 in the world in mobility area, and also in AI area, that was by means of cluster of AI companies. We believe SoftBank is becoming better positions in such segments and areas, so that we, with this partnership announcement with Toyota Monet Technologies, we believe that we will be able to take on this is the first step for both of us, and we expect to come to the second stage and third stage, so that we can have a deeper and a wider partnership with Toyota. That's something that I will be looking forward to see. And thinking about that future, that makes me even more excited. That is all from myself. Thank you.
Now at this juncture, I would like to invite Mr. Toyoda to the stage. Mr. Toyoda, please. Thank you very much for sharing the stage with me. Thank you very much for exciting speech. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Akio Toyoda. Looking back, I first met Son-san about 20 years ago when the internet was being introduced across Japan. At the time, I was a section manager, and EVP Tomoyama was an assistant manager. We had overcome initial reluctance inside Toyota to set up Gazoo.com from scratch. This was a new website that allowed people to discuss the sale of used cars via the internet at Toyota dealers all over the country. We were about to start traveling around Japan with the aim of expanding the site to cover new cars. Son-san then asked the Toyota sales team and the management at the time about introducing a proper net dealer system at our dealers in Japan. This was an idea that had come from the United States. We had just expended all our energy on setting up Gazoo, so the idea was impossible to accept. Eventually, Mr. Tomoyama and I went to see Son-san to turn down his proposal. I still remember it clearly. Now we have become president and executive vice president of Toyota. However, at the time, because we were just vigorous and energetic section manager and assistant manager, I'm sure we came across as discourteous. I'm grateful to Son-san for putting our discourtesy down to youthful enthusiasm. With a history like this, there have been various rumors that Toyota and SoftBank do not get along. As evidence, please search for Akio Toyoda on Yahoo. You'll find plenty of pictures of my frowning face. It's very different from Son-san, who has far more pictures of him smiling. I'm going to ask for something to be done about this search algorithm. Among those of you attending or watching today, some are probably wondering why Toyota and SoftBank. As you all know, the automotive industry is facing sweeping once-in-a-century changes. These changes have been caused by the advent of innovative new technologies called CASE for short. CASE stands for connected, autonomous, shared, and electric. And these ideas are totally changing the concept of the car, and our competitors are radically changing the rules of competition in the market. I think that cars, through data, will connect us to our cities, and by connecting people to all types of services to support their lifestyles, will become a part of our society's system. In January, I spoke at the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in the United States about how Toyota is transforming from a company that manufactures cars into a mobility company, or a company capable of providing all types of mobility-related services to society. Please watch this short video.
It's a great honor for a car guy like me to be here at CES. You may not be aware that Toyota actually began as a company that built weaving looms, not cars. And it was my grandfather, Kiichiro Toyoda, that decided to do what many thought impossible at the time, to go from building looms to building cars. It's my goal to transition Toyota from an automobile company to a mobility company, and the possibilities of what we can build, in my mind, are endless. I'm determined to create new ways to move and connect our customers across the country, across town, or just across the room.
Similar to the new cluster of number one strategy announced by Son-san for the SoftBank Group, I believe that friends and allies will be increasingly important in building the mobility society of the future. Toyota's strategy to create these friends and allies has three main pillars. The first is to strengthen ties with group companies that have the same roots as Toyota, such as Denso and Aishin. In my own words, I have called this the home and away strategy. The home part of the name refers to the reorganization of businesses within the Toyota Group to consolidate redundant functions into more competitive home companies and the establishment of new companies within the group. And at the same time, we have to increase the number of friends and allies and create de facto standards by actively selling competitive products to companies inside and outside the group. This is the reasoning behind our strategy, but people are not moved by theories alone. Personally, I prefer actions to words, and I'd like you to watch this short video to see what I mean in action.
The key characteristic of Toyota Group is that we have the same roots. That means we share the same basic business values, and it is the strength of our group. However, because it's people who run the business, it's only natural that relationships do grow weaker over time, and that you start moving in different directions, even if you come from the same roots. Despite that, since the beginning, the Toyota Group has had cars as a common language and a stable foundation. I believe that we will strike a rapport together by putting cars first, building cars that are meant to be driven, and facing up to each other honestly and with determination. Only after building that rapport can we feel that group is not just an organization of convenience, but a collection of friends and kindred spirits that share the same values. The second pillar is strengthening alliances with other automakers. We already have alliances with Subaru, Mazda, and Suzuki. However, the purposes of these alliances is not to expand volume through investment. In every case, we respect each other's strength in technological development, production engineering, and sales networks. The objective of these alliances is to become more competitive, to help us build even better cars. For example, in September last year, Mazda, Denso, and Toyota set up a company called EBCA Spirit. Combining the strength of each of its founding members, this company is taking on the challenge of identifying new development methods. The company has also accepted support from Subaru, Suzuki, Daihatsu, Hino, Isuzu, and Yamaha. In my own words, I see this as a collaboration between automakers with a continued passion for building vehicles that people will love. Finally, the third pillar, is strengthening alliances with new friends and allies that are providing mobility services. We have forged alliances with companies such as Uber, Grab, Didi, and GetAround. Many of these companies are valuable components of Son-san's cluster of #1 strategy. We see our partnership with SoftBank as a key part of the third pillar of our ally building strategy. When we were a company that focused only on manufacturing cars, we were unable to work with SoftBank. 20 years on, as we aim to become a mobility company, this partnership is now indispensable. We see SoftBank's strength as its ability to judge based on their foresight and expertise in reading the seas of the future. In contrast, our strength are the capabilities of our worksite centered on the Toyota production system, or ability to improve on-site. And these are the capabilities to achieve both what we want to do and what we need to do in the real world. And it also refers to the ability to make continuous improvements through a spirit of getting better and better, a process of evolution that creates products that are even better than before. The car business does not end once a sales is made. In fact, you might say that the car business only starts after the sale. Over 20 years, a single car will become an irreplaceable and beloved part of the lifestyle of the several owners. We have a dealer network across the whole world, and in Japan alone, including rental car stores, we have some 6,000 outlets. And over many years, this network has created bonds of trust with customers in the real world. Our advantage is that we can leverage and use this trusted network to help roll out new types of mobility services. We have many friends and allies that will continue to protect and fight for the car as an asset worthy of love. At the same time, SoftBank has many friends and allies that will continue striving to create new mobility-related services and build a more enjoyable mobility society. I think the partnership between our two companies will involve many of these friends and allies and will help to realize an unprecedented future mobility society. In July of this year, the founder of Toyota Motor Corporation, Kiichiro Toyoda, was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame in the United States. I do not think that the recognition of Kiichiro's accomplishments 80 years after the foundation of Toyota in this period of sweeping change is just a coincidence. I do not believe so. Kiichiro used to say this: "When it comes to loom technology, I am confident that we are the best in the world. But as far as automobiles are concerned, I didn't do anything. I didn't do a thing. It was my subordinates and those around me who did all the work." These words reflect Kiichiro's feelings of gratitude based on his belief that automobile business is not something that one person alone can undertake. We were able to accomplish what we did only because many people came together and worked diligently. The induction of Kiichiro into the Automotive Hall of Fame in the United States at this time of sweeping change felt as if he was telling us that the future cannot be created by one person alone, that it needs to be built by friends and allies, sharing the same motivation. I am not the founder of Toyota. I am merely continuing what others have passed on. Over the years, the top management of Toyota have passed on the following lesson: for Japan, for the world, and for the next generation. In other words, the spirit of working for someone else other than yourself, and the spirit of working with your friends to make the future a brighter and better place. I think you can look forward to the future of mobility that Toyota, SoftBank, and our friends will create together. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Toyoda. So after this, we would like to have a talk session between Mr. Son and Mr. Toyoda. We would like to prepare for that, so please hold on a minute.
Thank you for waiting. So let's get started with our talk session. First, Mr. Son and Mr. Toyota, please join us on the stage. And as moderator, we've invited Ms. Maoko Kotani, the well-known newscaster. So, Ms. Kotani, please lead the talk session. Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. Slow response. Good afternoon again. Well, my name is Maoko Kotani, and I've been asked to serve as the MC today. Here, we have two iconic business leaders of Japan seated right in front of myself. I mean, the picture I see. I mean, it will be huge news even if we send out this picture to the world. I'd like to ask you to speak your mind and your heart, honestly, because I would never have imagined that a day would come like this. I mean, 20 years ago, did you think about this? When you were pushing for the Gazoo and you turned the offer down. Now, 20 years hence, you have this scene together. Where do you imagine this? Well,
20 years ago, as I said, because of my youthful enthusiasm, in front of the famous Mr. Son, I had to decline his proposal. So even if it's after 20 years, and even if younger generation is taking lead in seeking this sort of collaboration, I wasn't quite sure he would be willing to accept this. However, his response was totally unchanged from 20 years ago. Mr. Son is the same, with big smiles on his face, and he was always gentle receiving me. I saw that smile on his face 20 years ago, but my side was not really ready and prepared vis-a-vis what he was able to offer.
Mr. Son, did you hate him because you were offering a good idea?
It was not unexpected, but I was disappointed. No, again, this is no. So, but back then, it was a big company, Toyota, and we were just a beginning, small company, SoftBank. So it was like a big giant rock in front of us, and we are just looking up for that. But I do remember very clearly about them. Somehow, it was not really but it was not a bad feeling at all. Somehow, sometime later, I thought that we may have some encounter once again.
This initiative started with the young people, young engineers. And did you not think it's going to be successful?
I thought, is it serious? Is it true? That's how I thought.
And did you think of what happened 20 years ago?
That's why that I thought that it's really true. That's how I thought. So I said I'm gonna pay a visit to you, and I asked his secretary to arrange that. But actually, that Mr. Toyota is coming for the business trip to Tokyo anyway, so that he'll be able to drop by. And I said, really? Is that true? I thought about it twice. Actually, I asked myself twice.
Earlier,
You talked about Mr. Keiichiro inducted to Automotive Hall of Fame in the United States. Looking back, President Akio is the fourth generation. The first generation was Sakichi.
the second generation, Mr. Keiichiro, was the founder of the automotive business. So you have two big founders within your family, and your father, Mr. Shoichiro Toyota, made this company so very large. Now you succeeded. But in a successor position, you always say it's a difficult position, actually. Mr. Son is a founder. How do you view him?
He was a person, he really started his business from the scratch, so he was a true founder. I have many founders in my relatives. I am not a founder of any business, so in that sense, founder, what one looks at, what are the problems racking their brains, and what are they aspiring to achieve. But bootstrapping and starting from the scratch is something that I always look up to Mr. Son and praise him so much. This strong guts that can be found in this foundation from the scratch and never be bested. I'm just an athlete, so that aspect may be something that I find common and I share or that resonates with. So 20 years ago, positions were different, both sides. But once, at least once in my life, I wanted to face the founder, true founder. And by being faced with the living founder, probably I'll be able to bring myself closer to Sakichi or Keiichiro. Probably I'll be able to get some clue in doing so.
No, Mr. So, Mr. Akio is a fourth generation, well, third generation as far as car is concerned, but he leads the company, the biggest cap in Japan. Well, sometimes the company is number two, you're number one and number two, so there must be huge pressure. Now, what do you think of Mr. Akio?
He's a great person, I think. Founder, it's the one position, of course, but actually, successing the business is even more difficult from my understanding, as a matter of fact, because if you can do it good, then that's natural, and if you cannot do good, then that you are the making the business bad. So it's really difficult. And actually, they're already number one in the world, and next to number one is always has to be number one. So you have to keep number one all the time. So that's maintenance or keeping number one. In a marathon that you have to leading all the games, that's a big challenge, I believe. And also you have a lot of responsibilities for that. And I believe a big burden. So I believe that's very difficult. So that's something that I really admire. And looking at Mr. Toyota, he is like a founder. I believe that he's challenging new things one after another. And at the same time, once company is not always a good time. Actually, there's a good times and bad times, and I believe I remember a lot. But there are difficult times for Toyota as well. But once again, that he bring the business back once again on the truck, and I believe that he has a founder spirit in himself.
So, the two of you, why do you think you are together here on this stage? I mean, I have to wonder, going back to the original point, why Toyota and SoftBank, the two companies, why?
I think it's a time. We just see the time now. Of course, we respect them, we admire them. It's a great company, the Toyota is. And as Mr. Toyota mentioned by himself earlier, that it's not the production company, but now transforming to the mobility company. And he recently made such an announcement. And now that developing the new chapter, new world. And on the way to the new direction, we, from the PC era, entering into internet era, and now it's the mobile smartphones. And my mobile communication company is making investment in lots of car companies. First, we made before Uber, actually the Didi, that we had an announcement on the investment in such company, and many people ask us why. It's totally different industry. That's what many people ask me. But as you saw the chart from my presentation, mobility, AI service companies under our family members. And when it goes to the mobility, I believe that the time actually connected us up to.
Well, we are in the automotive industry. And the automotive industry, as I often say, is faced with the sweeping once-in-a-century change. And as represented by CASE, we are faced with that huge change. But in that environment, anytime, I want to make sure that cars can always be treated with a strong bond of love. And so in this time of a huge transformation, we are going to squarely face up to that. And the typical example of that change would be reflected by autonomous driving. But in order to achieve autonomous driving and establish that technology, as Mr. Son mentioned earlier, we have to realize that every year 1.25 million people are losing their lives. And that represents the reality of mobility, which is considered to be very convenient. And I want to reduce the traffic accident fatalities down to zero. And this is the aspiration shared not just by automotive industry, but I think also Mr. Son's industry as well. And finding him sharing this vision makes me very happy. Right now, vehicles are driven by drivers, but in order to introduce autonomy to that, and with the objective of reducing traffic accident fatalities down to zero, when we consider that, in the present world, how much data we can collect will become extremely important in that context. So in that context, the Mars operator, the provider, we do see many cars operated. And earlier in the presentation, it was mentioned that very rapid growth is taking place. You'll be underestimating what it can do, simply thinking it as an application on the smartphone. So we must find new seeds for creating mobility services day in, day out through those data collected. In the past 80 years, our predecessors worked very hard producing many cars, selling many cars, and our cars are driven all over the world. And our history is also studied with failures and mistakes. So this history of mistakes and also the UIO that we have together, combining these two, and when we aim to introduce autonomous driving technology, can all that be achieved by car makers alone? And also companies that we are going to work in the autonomous technology. Opening the door, we realized that Mr. Son was sitting in right behind that door, and that really indicates that time is now, because we share the vision exactly. Today, coming to this stage, and the executive vice president of both companies making presentations. I don't know whether they somehow coordinated what they were going to say in their presentations. I wasn't informed of those presentations, but I realized that those presentations made by those four individuals were well meshed with each other and combined each other. I didn't feel that those were presentations given by people coming from different companies. We are trying to bring the current world into a new field. And we rediscover the fact that we are seeking the same thing, and this represents the mandate of the times. This is the calling coming from the times, and that's why we sit together.
You talked about the Uber, Grab, the well-known names, and I mean, you have been involved with these operations already. So the two companies catching up with the time. Do you think it's only a natural matter? Of course, it's been expected that that your two firms will now make this encounter. Has this been all expected?
And also, we are good at different fields. For example, in our case, we work in the real world, manufacturing cars and driving those cars. That's what we do. But the provision of platform, developing that platform to get information, and also by making investment in those other areas. So we are good at different worlds, but sharing the same vision. Once these two companies decide to join together, what is going to happen? And that really makes me very excited. And that really made me willing and anxious to work together.
Mr. Son earlier said this is the first step. There will be second and third steps.
In my head, I just made it by myself. And we want to make it that way, right? Of course. Each of our clusters, there is always a connected points, and that is making more.
Well, then, for example, SoftBank does a funding business as well. And as far as the Grab and Uber is concerned, you are an investor. You invested in these companies to grow their businesses. Now, this time, this arrangement between SoftBank and Toyota, creating this new company, is more or less a real business. So it's different from just the funding of new companies. But going forward, will the funding aspect to this business as well?
The Toyota's culture may be somewhat different when it comes to that particular aspect. In relation to the second pillar, I talked about the partnership or alliance amongst OEMs. But just joining hands through equity participation and grow the volume is not what we aimed at in creating those friendship or partnership. We were always after building ever better cars, and so long as we can find our partners equally interested in building better cars, we'll just call, why don't you come and join with us? So that's how we are going to expand this group of friends and allies. And that, I think, is more quintessentially Toyota-like. However, of course, I do realize that there is the world of finance and capital investment, so probably I can leave it to Mr. Son.
Toyota does have already the great capabilities of manufacturing and also selling those. Our number one strategy, on the other hand, is to find the lots of entrepreneurs, founders, and we support them. That's our position. That's how we call it cluster of number one strategy. So Toyota leading the developing the technologies, manufacturing the car, and the family companies create the AI technologies and so on, and us to combine those two companies, connecting those companies so that we can share the advantage of each other. That's I believe, the way that we will be looking at. So for example, Uber, recently Toyota have announced the investment in, also in the Grab as well. And like Mr. Toyoda mentioned earlier, that's not the only capital relationship, but actually join the board to create and develop the new technology. That's the passion that Mr. Toyoda has. And to develop such technology, from our understanding, that can be Uber, that can be Grab, and also more in the AI companies going forward. And we would like to support such leading companies, capitals, clusters. That's the way that we can support them. And I am the founder, and also they are also the founder of the venture companies. They are young and very energetic, so that we kind of have a good and safe, common chemistry in between, so that we smell the same kind of chemistries, right?
So you're a venture capitalist, helping develop the ventures?
And also they are so energetic, and they have so motivated to do the new things. In other words, like Jack Ma in Alibaba, so he's a leading CEO and create the things. So those creator and also the creator of Toyota, that we try to connect each other so that we'll be able to provide the opportunity of such a connection.
I see. Over 10 years ago, I visited Mr. Son in my program, and there. And the interview is over now. Yes, thank you. And then he introduced me to another person. and he was a Chinese, without able to speak Japanese. And who was his name? And Mr. Son said, Jack Ma. But I thought nobody would recognize him in Japan, even if his face appeared on the Japanese program. But Mr. Son said he's a big figure, certainly in the future. And now, of course, he's a huge icon, a figure. Go to Davos, it's all full house, and cannot even interview him these days. He's listed on NYC already, and Mr. Son has contributed to that success in a great deal. So your cluster strategy, Mr. Son, you have the discerning eye to help develop venture capitalists. A company which will stay for 300 years, you will choose and help them develop. But in the meantime, Toyota's idea of the group strategy is to collect the peers from the real world, so to speak. And sometimes with the equity investment, but not as a venture capitalist. But from different perspective, you form a sort of all-Japan coalition. Uber, of course, is not a Japanese, but it's a different.
Company must grow sustainably and enduringly, and that's what many stakeholders are requesting from corporations. The founding stage is demonstrated by Mr. Son. That is to say, many venture capitalists and capitalists need to support those. Otherwise, the startup companies will not be able to grow. And once the startup grows into a certain level, together with the real world, they must aspire to make a better world based upon continuous improvement. And therefore, there need to be connection, co-work between real-world operators and also the venture capitalists, and then further making investments in other segments. So that cycle is going to be repeated in different stages. The strength of a Toyota Group, with the fact that we have this real capability that is used in the real world. And from startup ventures of various funders, entrepreneurs, some companies do select Toyota as their partners. The new up-and-coming companies, the industry that had not existed before but newly created, we have this history of 80 years. Even in the case of those startup companies, the company with the history of 80 years could be interested in those new ones. And whenever new things are attempted, we want to be the company that those new startup companies want to invite in.
Mr. Son, Kiyasa said, we are living at the time of change in 100 years. So it's a death of alive sort of situation. So you have to be very nimble to be able to change your direction, whatever happens. You have to be very mobile in that respect. And you have to make a lot of new investments. In that sense, AI. Do you think that's an area where you should put your resources together to form that industry, while you should keep your nimbleness to be able to make any required change in direction?
So there is a big wave coming, I believe. So at the time of the internet, there was a big wave as well. In the past 20 years, there was a big wave coming on. So top 10 companies of market cap in the world, about out of 10, 7 are internet-related business. In 10 years ago, just one internet company, only Microsoft. And I'm not sure that the Microsoft is an internet company or not. That's a different question. But we regard it as an internet company for now, and that was only one company out of 10. And when it comes to AI service, AI technologies, those companies who focus on such is not there on the list. Google, Amazon, they are working on it, but it's not the company only for focusing on AI. But for those companies only focusing on AI will be actually taking the lead on the world's movements in coming 10 years and 20 years. So we will see such an era comes. So the same wave as we saw at the internet era, there will be a big wave of AI is coming now. So there we are focusing on so that we can move together with such wave.
The time is now upon us, I believe. And when that happens, I'm very happy that we are chosen to be a partner.
I think it's great opportunity. The world king, Toyota, is now open-minded to work together and challenge the new things. Actually, we are so honored to be also be a partner. That's really great.
You have a history, and large companies usually have a baggage. And take that for granted on the pedestal, so to speak. And sort of businessman, salaryman, have to make success while he is in the office. But in your case, your company was created your grandfather, and even in the age of AI, you have to keep the company at the head.
It's a founder family. That's also the different story, I think. So that's a great thing, and I admire it.
But even in the case of a founding family, as you mentioned earlier, in the case of third generation, everything successful is taken for granted, and if it mistakes, it is blamed. The third generation is blamed for the fact, and that's what I have always been told.
So you've just given us shared us a history, and in the age of AI, you'll be in the top 10. And you're preparing for that now. So it's a milestone moment we are observing today in history. Now look at the future mobility society. What awaits us? Can you tell us? What's your vision of mobility society?
Well, I often ask the same question from many people, and I had a meeting with Mr. Warren Buffett, the investor, and he asked exactly the same question. And my immediate response was, well, future defies me, so I don't know what the future brings to us. I can't foresee what the future is going to bring to us. But I would like to insist on and always feel strongly about is only one. Amongst many industrial goods, I would always like to make sure that vehicles are treated with love and with strong bond. No matter how much AI is in the vehicle, how autonomous the car becomes, and how electrified the car becomes, I don't want to have cars relegated to the commodity, the just vehicle. I always want the car to be loved by people with strong bond, and that's one point I feel very strongly about and I want to insist on. So in the case of SoftBank Vision, that's where the mobility AI that is so much focused by SoftBank. So right now, I don't have any concrete idea that what the future will bring to us in the future, but as I said, we share the vision, so that makes me feel extremely excited and motivated. And this is, he said, this is a starting point for us. So this is just the announcement of the establishment of a joint venture today. But going forward, we would like to make sure that this makes further advance and progress and achieve evolution. And furthermore, we want to create smiles on many people with the mobility service that this new company offers to them, and would like to achieve even further growth and development to spawn something totally new. And I intend to do my best to achieve that. So I hope you'll be able to support us and cheer for us for the future endeavors. And please work hard to that shared vision on both of us. I would appreciate that very much.
Reading the future, predicting the future is, of course, very different. But Mr. Son is capable of that. But I remember he was distributing ISDN. I had no idea how to use that. But after a while, ADSL came along. Then it was followed by Steve Jobs. And iPhone was yet announced. But somebody like that came, and Steve Jobs he said that I'm going to do something about this, and he did something about it indeed. So what is invisible? Ability to see that something that is yet unseen.
So Mr. Toyoda said that he is too humble and say he doesn't know, but he has already announced the e-palette, and also you saw the lots of video earlier, so that he has already have a good pictures in his mind, and also collaborating with us and do something. It's because he has a good picture for the future already. So that's why I believe that we have such a great opportunity here. Automotives, mobilities, any difference from the past is that I believe it's going to be the cluster of semiconductors. So far that the screws, bolts, nuts, so that and the oils and everything, so that's the kind of a history. Going forward, recently I actually met with Mr. J.D., had a dinner of Samsung founder and talking about the Samsung's future. And they are going to focus on mobility. So he was so energetic to speak about it that Mr. J.D. said. And Masa, he said, you are investing in Uber, Didi, and so on. So why don't you also partner with us, so that he kind of talk about that. So far, Samsung's semiconductor shipments partner was always the smartphone companies, smartphone vendors. So those are the biggest clients, and they are taking about 30% share. And also for the automobiles, or less than 1%. But going forward, coming 10 years, 20 years, autonomous driving comes and everything, then mobility or the semiconductor for the cars, they are expecting 40% out of total shipments is going to be going to the automobile industry. So they are expecting the shipment is going to be larger than the shipments to the smartphones. So that's why that I believe that the car is going to be the cluster or the block of the semiconductors. So semiconductor, not only the chip mounted in the car, but actually there will be a chip in the cloud side as well. It's going to be communicating over the air, so that is going to be super intelligence AI, that the human who could not avoid the troubles or the predicting the movement, so that super intelligence will be able to prevent in advance of such troubles. If we can do such a things, then that the human don't have to be rushed to put the brake or anything like that. But still, that will make human errors and accident. But actually, the super intelligence is gonna bring you even more accurate, more quick response to prevent any troubles, so that the AI as a super intelligence will be supporting such activities and behaviors, and even the traffic jams. Even with the same number of cars on the road, but traffic jam can be reduced going forward. That's the mobility society we are looking at. So AI is going to be able to allow us to do that going forward. And extension of the internet, there will be AI. And everything starts from the chip of the microprocessors and becomes PCs, smartphone, everything connected over the internet, and now that connected to the AI. So it's the extension of semiconductor revolution, so that we've been working on that road. And now that from the automobiles industries, now that our path is crossing finally, so the time has come actually to connecting SoftBank and Toyota right now.
Toyoda-san, I observe you every day, and you are a strong producer with your sensitivities. You said you couldn't tell the future, talking to Mr. Bassett, but you had a feel about the future.
I think he's too humble.
But as Mr. Son has just mentioned, that made the future much clearer, I believe.
Today, I was listening to Mr. Toyota's presentation earlier. Actually, I don't have much opportunity to see other people's presentation, and hearing, and not much opportunity to actually moved by other people's presentation. Actually, Steve Jobs' presentation was very much touched and moved, but today I was so impressed by your presentation, Mr. Toyota. It was great presentation, so very well done. And story was clear and logical, also passionate, and he is speaking from his heart. That makes people attracted, I believe. So it was a very good lesson for me too, so thank you. So it was a great job.
And I guess all your people want you to understand what you have in your heart. That's
I felt that too.
本当にね、真心でおっしゃっておられるなと。
So I think that he is also speaking his mind. So it was a very good chance to see his presentation today. So it was a good lesson for me.
I hope there will be a lot of learning opportunities, second and third stages. And unfortunately, our time is almost up. In the world, we're seeing a lot of news flying around. And I'm sure this event is seen by a lot of people. I am personally very honored and grateful for having this opportunity today. But I have to conclude because of time. But this two-shot or couple shoot, are you okay with the pictures? Well, then thank you to the audience as well. And thank you very much. It's been my honor. Thank you very much, Mr. Son, Mr. Toyoda, and Ms. Kotani. The audience give them once again a round of applause. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our press conference today. The conference is going to be webcasted. And I know you were very busy today, but thank you very much for